I am your program director for the day. In 1994, South Africans were promised a dream of a working democracy, one where every resident can enjoy the freedom of a working government, a government that gets things done. Sadly, this has been nothing but a pipe dream. Every ANC-governed municipality is a lightless and unsafe pothole valley that has left residents without a consistent flow of clean drinking water, without a reliable collection of refuse, with sewage spills as the next best playing pool for children in poor communities. Local economies are dead, while corruption is the modus operandi of every ANC administration. Today, we launch our 2021 manifesto, and with it, we say enough is enough. South Africans deserve better. Every resident deserves to experience the DA difference that has clearly set DA municipalities apart from the rest of the country. So let us stay tuned to the DA's offer of action and a promise for more. On today's lineup, we also have performances from various artists. We have Early B, Kurt Darren, Emo Adams, MFR Souls. So indeed, today's program promises to be an exciting one. So stay tuned and keep the conversation flowing across all our social media platforms. Let's keep the timeline blue. Hashtag DA Manifesto. South Africa, the DA has a plan to get things done. In every province and every municipality, we are working hard to build a non-racial, united South Africa. We intend to do so in Gauteng, Maboneng, the melting pot of Mzansi and the home province of the City of Gold. In Isifundazwe saseKwaZulu-Natal, the Garden Province and the home of Africa's first Nobel Prize winner, in Limpopo, Diphororo tsa metsi, South Africa's food basket. In the Northern Cape, the largest province in Mzansi and the home of the Groot Gat. South Africa, Mzansi, the DA gets things done. With the DA youth at the forefront of fighting for youth advancement in a state that has left us behind. Led by South Africa's official opposition and the government in waiting, the Democratic Alliance. Like we do in the Weskaap, the best-run province and the home of service delivery and the 7th natural wonder of the world, Table Mountain. We shall do so in Ekkurleni, the home of legends and rolling hills. In South Africa's judicial capital, Hayeso, Freystata. In the Northwest, the Platinum Province and the home of not one, but two UNESCO World Heritage Sites. In the colorful province of the rising sun, Mpumalanga. With the DA Women's Network strengthening the voice of gender-based violence survivors in communities. In universities and colleges across the country, the DA's student organization is helping young people to secure their future. South Africa belongs to all of us. So let us unite and build an open opportunity society for all. South Africa, this wouldn't be an event of national importance without the singing of our national anthem. So rise up, let's join Thembi Nkosi Boy as we sing our South African national anthem. Democrats South Africans to officially open the Democratic Alliance 2021 Manifesto launch. Help me welcome on stage our federal chairperson, Dr. Ivan Meyer.
Dear fellow Democrats and all South Africans, today we are launching the Local Government 2021 Manifesto. It is indeed a great honor and a joy to launch our campaign today. Our manifesto presents our offer to all South Africans. This manifesto that we are launching here today is a product of research, evidence and data collected of what matters the most to residents in areas where they live. It is a product of what matters in their daily lives. It is a product of people's choices. Because all politics are local, this manifesto is a reflection of local political choices. Local government is where local choices are made. South Africans across our beautiful towns and cities are tired of municipalities that simply fail them. They want something different. This manifesto is our offering of something different. Something that speaks to the people's daily living experience. To make this a better experience, we in the Democratic Alliance have a candidate in every ward across South Africa. The governing party is trying everything to stay in power in order to continue the looting. South Africans had enough of this abuse of state resources and corruption. Our DA candidates across South Africa is bringing an alternative, a culture of ethics and servant leadership. Where we govern with values and principles. Our principles are the rule of law, constitutionalism, individual freedom, non-racialism, social market economy, and the protection of private property rights. This manifesto is our social contract with you, the voters in South Africa. And voters in South Africa are clear, very clear, what they want. During this launch, you will hear what they want and what our offerings are in this election. Our manifesto is not a promise, but a commitment to serve the voters in every ward across South Africa. We in the Democratic Alliance will secure your future and the future of your loved ones and your family. Where we govern, we get things done. While some parties talk about things, we in the DA get things done. However, we are mindful there are always more to be done. Many municipalities across South Africa are dysfunctional because of bad leadership and corruption. We need to rebuild what was destroyed in many towns in South Africa. We need to reset South Africa for you, the voter across South Africa. You can help us in resetting your town right where you live. In this manifesto, we will guide you how to do that exactly. A vote for your Democratic Alliance councillor where you live is the beginning of something new, something different for you, the voter. The political landscape in South Africa is about to change on the 1st of November 2021, when South Africans are going to the local government election. This manifesto is a tool to effect real change and offer real hope to all South African citizens across our beautiful country. Join us on this journey to bring change right at your doorstep. As Federal Chairperson of the Democratic Alliance, I officially declare that we are ready. Ready for the local government election on the 1st of November. You will hear more from our federal leader what we are offering the rest of South Africa in the local government election 2021. I hereby declare the 2021 Local Government Manifesto launch of the Democratic Alliance officially open. Nkosi sikelele I Afrika. God bless South Africa. God seën South Africa.
I am a mother. I am a father. I'm a daughter. I am a son. I am a brother. I am a sister. I am a neighbor. I believe in freedom. freedom to earn a living, go where I want, love who I want, say what I believe, and pursue my dreams. I am brave. I am a provider. I am whatever it takes. I believe in fairness. A fairness where our achievements are determined by our choices and hard work, not by the circumstances of our birth. I am a leader. I am hopeful. I'm going to beat this. I believe in opportunity. A nation where opportunity is plentiful, where the strong protect the weak, and everyone's rights are protected. I am a helping hand. I am challenging. I am different. I believe in diversity. Every person has a unique perspective and an important role to play in building our nation. We do not judge each other by how we look, but by who we are. We are community. We are South Africans, working together for real hope, real change now. We are the Democratic Alliance.
South Africans, any working government needs a comprehensive plan of action. To give us the DA 2021 Manifesto Foundation is our Head of Policy, Gwen Ngwenya.
Good morning, fellow Democrats. Good morning, South Africans. Our country is undergoing a process of accelerating decay. It would be understated to say South Africa is at a crossroads because we are long past that. We stood at a crossroads perhaps 10 or more years ago. Today, we are inarguably a failing state. The truth is, as a young South African, without significant change, I do not see a thriving country in my lifetime. But every election is an opportunity to reset the course for our future. Most of the areas which affect our day-to-day lives are administered at the local government level. Local government is ground zero for turning our country around. If we want to see a more prosperous South Africa, it must begin with the sphere of government closest to every citizen. When we went province to province, city to city, and town to town, seeking input into the manifesto, that message was clear. Local government is the gateway to national change. What fills me with hope about the DA's offer is that the Democratic Alliance is not only an opposition party, it is also a governing party. Unlike other opposition parties, we know what it is like to govern. And where we are not in government, we are a government in waiting. Sometimes when people go to Cape Town, they say, it feels like another country. That is not surprising. The DA has governed municipalities in the Western Cape longer than anywhere else, and most with the majority, meaning that we have had an opportunity to get things done without having to compromise on clean governance, on getting the basics right, and on providing support to the poorest households. There is nothing special about Cape Town that cannot be repeated in every other city. It is much a South African city like any other, but one that has known good governance and service delivery. We will do our best to make coalitions work where they are viable, but you owe it to yourselves and to your family to experience at least once in your lifetime what only a DA majority can deliver. What I can say without hesitance is that where we govern, South Africans live a better life than they would if they lived in a non-DA run municipality. We are the only party that can say that and back it up, either because others have simply never governed, or if they have, they cannot match our track record. Any party can make promises, but the DA is already getting things done, and we are the best. That is what we show in this manifesto, that we are doing what others only aspire to. Good Governance Africa's performance ranking of South African municipalities has data on 15 indicators across 3 themes: administration, economic development, and service delivery. It shows that the top performing municipality is led by the DA, and so are 13 of the top 20. Gauteng only has 1 municipality in the top 20, Midvaal, which, unsurprisingly, is DA governed. On the prospects for your business and jobs where we govern, there too we are proud that the City of Cape Town came out as the top performer in South Africa in Doing Business survey conducted by the World Bank. It is no mistake then that at 29.1%, the Western Cape continues to have the lowest expanded unemployment rate in South Africa, 17.3 percentage points lower than the average for the other 8 provinces. Rich, middle class, working class or poor, the DA works for everyone. The latest data from Stats SA's non-financial census of municipalities shows that across all areas of basic service delivery, water, electricity, sewerage and sanitation, as well as waste management, the municipalities across the Western Cape support indigent households at a greater rate than any other province. If you have found yourself on hard times and your household is classified as indigent, you are more likely to receive free support for basic services in a DA-run municipality than anywhere else in the country. I am proud to commend this manifesto both as an aspirational document and as a testimony to how the DA gets things done. The DA is the only party with a clear record of action and a plan for a better future in your town or city.
Well, thank you very, very much for that from our policy head, Gwen Ngwenya. Siv, what are the main takeaways from this for you?
I think the key thing here, Richard, is that we've been able to, through this process that Celia and you were talking about earlier, been able to really decipher what it is that South Africans truly need. And our main offer here is around delivering services, keeping corruption down, because we know that part of the reason why a lot of our towns and cities across the country are broken is because public money that is meant to go to providing services for the people have actually gone to the pockets of politicians. So it's a big offer of ours that we will use public money for what it is intended. We're also ensuring that we want to keep our communities safe. A lot of communities are ridden by crime, and that is something that local authorities can truly get to grips with.
Richard, I think the important takeaway here is it's not just about basic services. So having a municipality that can keep the lights on and the taps flowing and the sewage flowing in the right direction is a good in and of itself. But it also has economic spin-offs. If you have a good government, an efficient government, as Siv says, that doesn't steal and waste money, that can guarantee a steady supply of these basic services, it gives people a better place to work, to live, to invest, and then to create jobs. And a perfect example of this is the fact that the Western Cape has got a much lower unemployment rate than the rest of the country. And one important way of explaining that is because in most of the Western Cape, the basics work, and that yields economic benefits that help lift people out of poverty. And even in poor areas in the Western Cape, people are keen to access the type of services that we want. That's why people come from all over the country in hope of better opportunities, a better standard of life in the Western Cape and in Cape Town.
And also, just lastly, Richard, I mean, I think, even though this is a local government election, I think one of the key things that also comes out of this document is how we want to build a non-racial South Africa. Because in the rise of populism that we've seen and the kind of hatred that is often stroked by different political players for their own narrow political interests, it is very important to have a liberal party in this country that says we want to build a non-racial South Africa. We want to bring people back to the sensible center.
Indeed, indeed. The DA gets things done. And up next, we have a message from stalwart Ntati Joe Seremani. He's the former DA federal chairperson, and he'll be coming to us from his home in Mayakeng. Ntati Joe was in the trenches right from the start in the fight against apartheid. He even served time on Robben Island. In the 90s and the noughties, he was leading from the front benches in Parliament and fighting the good fight for liberal democracy, constitutionalism and non-racialism. Ntati Joe, we salute you.
I joined the DA because we've been struggling all along. Now, when I saw in Parliament we are about to be free, and in my mind, we are entering a democratic society. And the key backbone to me of a democracy is to have a strong opposition. The DA was exactly what we wanted. We want to live in a non-racial democratic society, which liberal values that honor each and individual's rights as a human being. The DA is forward-looking and not talking things that they cannot do. They are doable. We are trying hard and getting results. Piki Piki Magbaya. When the DA takes over, we're going to be sure we're going to follow the democracy that we talk of, that non-racialism that we talk of, that upliftment of the people that we talk of, that increasing of the pie, so that all of us must have a share of the pie in terms of living opportunities. John Steenhuisen is on the right track. Yeah, that's youth using energy properly. He came in, firstly, he says, I've been wanting to come here and I could not make it last year when you lost your son. And that touched me. I'm impressed. This young John Steenhuisen remembers that in my culture, we say, Matsidiso Habole. To come and grieve with a person or say sorry, comfort a person, it's never too late. He cares. That's human nature. That's what kind of South Africa we want. People will always get the government they deserve. Change does not come just overnight. Like Mandela says, okay, it's a long walk to freedom. The future largely also depends on what we do today. If we mess it up, we've got a messy future. If we work properly, preserve the things that we hold dear, then we've got a better future. And DA must keep it up, keep it up. If they are lazy, I'm going to spank them. I'm joking.
The city of Ekkurleni used to be an industrial hub with the biggest airport on the continent. Now, it is nothing more than an elephant hub. The rot and decay experienced by residents of the city is painful to withstand. Now is the time for change. Introducing the DA's offer for hope for the residents of Ekkurleni is our mayoral candidate, Mufukeng wa Maotwana Finyela, Mme Refilwe Ntshege. Hala, la poka halala.
Africa, halala!
Halala.
I'm Refilo Ntsege, and I'm running as DA's mayoral candidate for Ekkurleni. As first Deputy Federal Chairperson for the Democratic Alliance and the Shadow MEC for Social Development in Gauteng, I'm ready to take a giant step forward to serve as the mayor of Ekkurleni, a major metro to get things done. I've walked a path in my political journey, fighting for people, for communities, and the lesson I have learned, I am ready to implement. I believe in the future of our beautiful South Africa, united by our diversity. I see the potential of Ekkurleni. I believe in getting back to basics. Good governance, good service delivery. These beliefs motivate me every day. Fellow South Africans, I want to tell you why your vote matters and about the power you wield as voters. Since the advent of democracy, our country has deteriorated. There's been visible and systematic collapse and an increase in state capture, felt hardest at a local government level. Ekkurleni is not immune to the failures of the incapable state. It is but one example of municipalities across South Africa that have succumbed to the rot by those in green, black, and gold. When you suffer, I too suffer. Your service delivery experiences are my lived experiences too. The state of disrepair motivates me every day to fight for change. We will turn things around with a competent administration that will prioritize service delivery. There are over 1,000 power outages in the municipality daily. While some are ESCOM related, many are due to ailing infrastructure and a skills deficit in the electricity department. Ekkurleni electricity management is so bad that ESCOM had to step in and manage their load shedding. When ESCOM finally reconnects the grid after load shedding, our aging infrastructure is so poorly maintained that it can't cope and leads to further power outages. This election, you can vote them out. This municipality has water outages that can sometimes last up to 15 days. All these have adverse effects on residents and business. When money was budgeted to renovate a reservoir in the metro, those in charge shifted the money to a frivolous project. The DA-run Stellenbosch is well on its way to free themselves from the shackles of ESCOM by invoking the promulgated Act 10 to allow independent power producers to feed back into the grid. As the mayor of Ekkurleni, I, too, will ensure that we pass this motion when we take office. Yeah. South Africans, we get things done. Come 1 November, you have the power to appoint a political party that will afford you the opportunity to reach your best potential. A vote for the DA will free you from those who have taken you for granted. A vote for the DA will change your life, the lives of your families and your loved ones. November 1, take your power back. Vote for the party that gets things done. Vote for the Democratic Alliance. Halala, South Africa, halala!
Halala.
He is a 9-time Summer Award-winning artist. He's released 28 albums. He'll be performing his hit track, Los Sapi. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Darren! Los Sapi.
Oh, ek luister dan na mama toe die rivier spoel my trane raak. 'n Boggie wat genaak by my wil net sê kom aan ek is so loslaat. Ek wens ek het vlakke soos je me gehoordiseerd. Wanneer ik kijk naar de jaren van mijn moeder. En daar zal ik leid door die dood. Oh, ik wil luisteren naar mama toe. Die is voor mij carnaval. Een boggie wat vannacht bij mij wil liggen. Zeg maar alleen, ik kan ze loslaten. Oh, ik wil luisteren naar mama toe. Die is voor mij carnaval. Een boggie wat vannacht bij mij wil liggen. Zeg maar alleen, ik kan ze loslaten. Pensa que flacas soos my engeltjie. Vlieg ek deur die droomstralies heen. Waar ek kyk na die jans van my moeder. En daar sal ek bly tot die dood. Ek wil huis toe gaan, na mama toe. Die is vir my carnaval. Boggie wat vanaand by my wil lê. Sê kom maar lê, ek is so los na die. Is voor mij carnaval. Boggie wat vandaag bij mij verleed. Zeg maar alleen, ik is zo loslaten. Hoe ik luister kan. Hoe ik luister kan. Hoe ik luister kan. Na mama toe. Yeah. Bij mij beleefd. Ik is zo loslaten. Hoe ik wil luisteren kan. Na mama toe. Die is voor mij carnaval. Oh yeah. Boggie wat vandaag bij mij beleefd. Zeg maar alleen, ik is zo loslaten. Ik wil luisteren kan. Na mama toe. Die is voor mij carnaval. Een boggie wat vandaag bij mij beleefd. Zeg maar alleen, ik is zo loslaten. Een boggie wat vandaag bij mij beleefd. Zeg maar alleen, ik is zo loslaten.
The DA-run Koko municipality in the Eastern Cape remains a beacon of excellence in a rot-friendly basket of looting amongst poorly governed ANC municipalities, ranking third on the list of best governed municipalities in the province. But we can and shall do more. Introducing the DA's offer for more is our mayoral candidate for the Koko municipality, Horatio Hendricks.
So you must look back to be able to move forward. Good day, my name is Horatio Hendricks, the DA's mayoral candidate for Koko municipality in the Eastern Cape. When we started governing Koko in 2016, the words of Barack Obama rings true when he said, "We didn't come here to fear the future, we came here to shape it." Our vision was good governance for service excellence, but we understood that good governance was a precondition for service excellence. And in order to entrench a system of good governance, we disposed of incompetence, maladministration, and corruption first. We replaced cadre deployment by appointing the best possible people, the kind of people we knew would be able to get things done. To reboot service delivery, we turned our fleet around from 4% operational in 2016 to over 90% in less than 2 years. To show that we were serious about being a responsive government, we started a call center to allow the public to report service delivery queries, and with a proud record of over 90% issues resolved within 24 hours, we have firmly restored that the hope that things can be better after 15 years of decay under the ANC. We brought financial stability to the institution by being prudent in our expenditure. We paid our creditors on time, we kept Eskom account current, and by November of this year, we will have paid all long-term debt we inherited from the ANC. Our collection rate improved from a mere 72% in 2016 to an average of 94% over the last 2 years, even with COVID-19 wreaking havoc on our local economy. A firm vote of confidence from our communities in paying their rates and services. Some of our proudest achievements were the revival of our housing projects that came to a standstill in 2007. Today we stand proud as an implementing agent with numerous housing projects changing the face of our municipality to a look of prosperity. We are currently the only local municipality in the Eastern Cape to be approved by the National Social Housing Regulator to implement our new housing projects. The turnaround of our road infrastructure network, which had a backlog of R500 million, makes progress visible to our people. And a week ago, we turned soil for the first gravel road upgrade to a proper tar road for the first time in over 20 years. Now is the time to grow our economy. Now is the time for Koga's next chapter. So vote for a party that gets things done.
Bro, we tired of excuses. Ek sê my people need solutions. Kyk hier, ons nodig verandering, nie mense wat kom praat. Hier kom jy help met die change, wie nie na die vote, my mense jump. Nou hello, hi, ek het die boodskap en ek sing het meneer. Moeg gekyk van hoe die negatieve dinge gebeur. Kom in my plek, ek sal jou wys hoe dinge binne beweeg. En jylle first hand experience gee van hoe ons hier leef. Kinders wil kinders wees, maar hulle die je paakie nie. Nou staan hulle op die kone met jongens so boere gangsterkies. Ons kla nou al vir jare oor die saak van ons druine wat lek. Excuse me, water's a necessity. So help us with that. So many promises were made, but nothing like it received. They said they're gonna build houses, haast nog how days a eve. I stand for 1980 something, I've give out for my streets. Be the reflection of perfection. Don't stick out when it's just election, cause
we're tired of excuses. My people want solutions.
Nou kyk jy ons nodig verandering, nie mense wat kom praat. Hier kom jy help met die change, wie nie dat die vote, my mense jump.
We're tired of excuses.
Nou kyk jy ons nodig verandering, nie mense wat kom praat. Hier kom jy help met die change, wie nie na die vote, my mense jump. Education's elevation to better the situation. And educators educate in a state of complication. The teachers on their knees in supplication. When I do their occupation with a breeze, master feel ventilation. But ek bedoel die klasse hier se vensters is uit. And we can barely pay jou school fees, nou mens verblaai ook by. En kyk jy so, ek skool met weg, maar hy se geld toe iets hy. So voor julle billboards en bordjies wil zijn, so die pension is uit. Geef vir die sassa rechte reis en baby mamas better always. Sports and the arts need assistance in all ways. Bro, my people needs a difference in more ways than one. So as ons vote me nie net kompromis in nie man, sien nie man.
We're tired of excuses. My people want solutions.
Nou kyk jy ons nodig verandering, nie mense wat kom praat. Hier kom jy help met die change, wie nie na die vote, my mense jump.
We're tired of excuses. People want solutions.
Nou kyk jy ons nodig verandering, nie mense wat kom praat. Hier kom jy help met die change, wie nie na die vote, my mense jump.
Change, change, change today. No, I won't look the other way. We wanna see a better day for you and me. Change, change, change today. No, I won't look the other way. We wanna see a better day for you and me.
So let's empower the community, create some opportunities. As potholes in die straat gee dit vir die ouens wat op die stoep sit. And truthfully, we need to lead with love, peace and unity. We tired of attending eulogies. So many aso praat die doen het.
We're tired of excuses. My people want solutions.
Nou kyk jy ons nodig verandering, nie mense wat kom praat. Hier kom jy help met die change, wie nie na die vote, my mense jump.
We're tired of excuses. People want solutions.
Nou kyk jy ons nodig verandering, nie mense wat kom praat. Hier kom jy help met die change, wie nie na die vote, my mense jump.
Cape Townians, the DA government in the city of Cape Town has shown you that it gets things done. Indeed, Cape Town works, but we can do more. To give you the DA's offer for the city of Cape Town is our mayoral candidate, Jordan Hill Lewis.
South Africans and my fellow Cape Townians, what a pleasure to join you this morning. Our country and our city is only now starting to emerge from one of the most difficult periods in our recent history. The long winter of COVID-19 has brought cold and darkness into so many of your homes, as people have lost loved ones and livelihoods. But I am standing before you today because I know that spring is on its way back to Cape Town. We all know that Cape Town is already the best-run city in South Africa. But we also know that the effects of the COVID pandemic, combined with the accelerating decline of every basic national government service, means that we must now do more than ever before to secure your and Cape Town's future. Amidst all of the uncertainty that so many of us feel about the future direction of our country, the DA sees the opportunity of a lifetime to turn Cape Town into the great world city it deserves to be. By doing more than ever before, we will secure Cape Town's future against the decline of national government. We will end load shedding in Cape Town. We will fight for the control of Cape Town's railways. We will deploy hundreds more law enforcement officers to make every family and community feel safer. And we will continue to struggle to force the national government to release the massive tracts of land that it owns so that the private sector can build thousands of new affordable homes for Cape Townians. And we will also do the basics better so that every Cape Townian, no matter where you live, can live a life of dignity, knowing and seeing and feeling the DA difference in your life and in your community. And we will make our mother city the most entrepreneur-friendly on the entire African continent, so that the private sector can invest and create thousands of new jobs. We will do all of these things because the DA wants Cape Town to take its rightful place among the very great cities of the world. Ek is passievol daaroor om Kaapenaars weer hoopvol en optimisties te maak oor ons stad se toekoms. Die enigste manier om dit te doen is deur al hoe meer magte by die nasionale regering weg te vat. Aangesien die nasionale regering weier om beerdkrag te stop, ons gemeenskappe veiliger te laat voel en ordentlike openbare vervoer en behuising te verskaf vir ons mense, moet ons net eenvoudig meer van hierdie dinge self doen. Our country stands on the precipice of a new era in our democratic history. The coming era is one that will be defined by forced devolution of power away from the failing national state to local, competent, DA-run municipalities like Cape Town, so that we can protect and support our residents. This is a hopeful and optimistic new future, where families can have the peace of mind of knowing that the DA will protect them from the consequences of crumbling national services. And it is an era that will start in Cape Town, as we push every boundary of local government power further out than ever before, so that we can secure the future of our beautiful mother city home. By voting for the DA on the 1st of November, Cape Townians will elect a government that will boldly go where no municipal government has ever gone before. The DA in Cape Town is ready to lead the way into this brave new era, where we rid ourselves of the decline of national government and secure our own futures. We all know that Cape Town works. Now is the time to do more than ever before. So go out on the 1st of November and vote DA. And together, we will secure Cape Town's future. Cape Town works. Ikapa liyasebenza. Kaapstad werk. Let's do more. Thank you.
the city of Cape Town is the best governed city in the whole of South Africa. So together with you and your vote, we can definitely do more. So we're still giving you a bunch of performances. It's going to be lit. We're turning it up. Rakokota, piano, performing the hit track Batandwa. Give it up for Bassi and MFR Souls. The residents of the Tshwane Metro deserve a more stable and reliable government. With an uninterrupted 5-year term, we can ensure that the capital city gets better services. Introducing the DA's plan on how we intend to do so is our mayoral candidate for the city of Tshwane, Randall Williams.
Fellow South Africans, my name is Randall Williams and I am the Executive Mayor in the city of Tshwane. Currently, the city of Tshwane is the only metropolitan municipality in Gauteng that is governed by the Democratic Alliance. In the beginning of November 2020, I was chosen to be the mayor after the DA successfully overturned the decision by the ANC Gauteng provincial government to dissolve the Tshwane Council and seize control. The ANC were desperate to take control of Tshwane. Towards the end of 2019, the ANC in Tshwane repeatedly collapsed the Tshwane Council with the help of the EFF to make the city ungovernable. They then decided the best way to hijack the city was to have the provincial government do their work for them and dissolve council. This decision was unlawful and one which the DA ultimately overturned in the courts. The result was 8 months of Tshwane being governed by unlawfully deployed ANC administrators. ANC administrators who took the DA's 297 million rand surplus and turned it into a 4.3 billion rand deficit. ANC administrators who abandoned and neglected core basic service delivery, allowing the city to fall into ruin in just 8 months. Imagine what they would do in 5 years. Friends, when we returned to Tshwane in November last year, we found a broken city. But here's the DA difference. We started immediately in ensuring we restored proper sound governance to our great city. We moved quickly to implement stringent financial controls and management in order to control the ANC's deficit and stabilize revenue collections. After inheriting the ANC's 4.3 billion rand deficit at the end of October 2020, we took this deficit and we reduced it by 3.4 billion rands through strict financial discipline, leaving us with a much reduced deficit of 914 million rand by the end of June of this year. That is how the DA gets things done. We implemented weekly tracking on all basic service at every operational level to ensure we fix street lights, repair potholes, cut grass, respond to power and water outages, and provide quality service delivery to our residents. In 11 months, we have repaired over 150,000 street lights and filled over 30,000 potholes. That is the DA difference. We are prioritizing that we invest in core infrastructure so that we unlock development in our city and attract investment and create an environment where businesses thrive. We are systematically undoing decades of abuse and mismanagement by the ANC. Fellow South Africans, we want to continue taking our capital city forward into the future. To do that requires that we win in Tshwane with 50% plus 1 of the vote so that we can fully implement our policies. Our teams are in place. Our manifestos is ready. We are governing right now and we are ready to continue to govern in the years to come. The winds of progress are on our side, and now is the time to use them and sail our city into a future we can all be proud of. Let us secure our capital city firmly under the DA, because we are the only party that gets things done. Together, I know we can lead our city to greatness.
Indeed, the residents of Tshwane are inspired and are ready to vote in a new government, a democratic alliance government. Now, South Africa, we promised you a lit show. We promised you a variety of performances. And just yesterday, we were celebrating Heritage Day. And in the spirit of Heritage Month, we have a beautiful South African medley by none other than your boy, Dum. In the 18th area, Emo Adams.
You're a good soldier, choosing your battle. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, go back on the saddle. You're on the front line, everyone's watching. You know it's serious, we're getting closer, this isn't over. The pressure's on, can you feel it? You've got it all, you believe it. When you forget up, and if you forget up, Samina mina sangalingwa, cause this is Africa. Samina mina, waka waka, Samina mina sangalingwa, anawa Samina mina, waka waka, Samina mina sangalingwa, cause this is Africa. Hier is 'n wyding, sy maak my hart so bly, maar ek wil graag weet, hoe gaan sy myne bly? Want terwyl ons rustig stap, hand in hand in die straat, sê sy daar is iets waaroor sy wil praat. Oor sy wil Gamskowili, Gamskowili. Sy sê sy wil Gamskowili, want is so baie lekker Gamskowili, Gamskowili. Sy sê sy wil Gamskowili, want Gamskowili, Gamskowili. Sy sê sy wil Gamskowili, want wat ek kyk Lisa, ek probeer lekker die Gamskowili, Gamskowili. Sy sê sy wil Gamskowili, dis so baie lekker. Break it down, break it down. Say fat, 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 fat. Old school, when the night has come, and the land is dark, and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just alone as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Just alone as you stand by me. Oh, so darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Just alone as you stand by me. Can you feel it? Take fat, 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 fat.
In 2016, the residents of Modimolle municipality in Limpopo chose change. This was seen in our electricity turnaround strategy. With an outright majority, we can definitely do more. Introducing the DA's offer for more is our mayoral candidate for the Modimolle municipality, Marlene van Staden.
In 2016, the towns in Modimolle faced the same worsening circumstances that plague most ANC-run municipalities across the country. The crucial task of maintaining and expanding service delivery infrastructure had simply been ignored, and water outages, sewer spills and broken streetlights had become a fact of life. The roads were riddled with potholes, and rusty service delivery vehicles stood idle, broken, or simply unused. Corruption and maladministration were an everyday occurrence, and accountability, responsiveness, and openness were no more than words. Never mind the founding values of our constitution. But the ANC had ignored people for far too long, and in 2016, the DA formed a minority coalition government with one objective: to bring the DA difference to all residents of Modimolle. The challenges were enormous, but the DA understands what needs to be done to secure and prosperous towns. We started by cultivating a culture of openness and responsiveness, communicating with our residents every step of the way. We implemented the principles of good governance and never forgot that we were spending the public's money and not ours. We worked tirelessly to put in place what is needed to ensure a reliable supply of potable water, a clean environment, working streetlights, and passable roads. We drew a line in the sand to say that corruption will not be tolerated under a DA government. In fact, there will be consequences. We invested in infrastructure and completed the half-built abandoned projects that we inherited from the ANC, because the DA gets things done. However, our work is not done. If in the past term we have become to reverse the failed legacy of the ANC, just imagine what we can do with 5 more years of uninterrupted years of stable DA governance. When elected again, I will spend the next term entrenching good governance, expanding service delivery, eradicating corruption, and engendering the conditions in which businesses grow and jobs are created. Our achievements in Modimolle shows that the DA can bring capable governance to even the most difficult circumstances. It's time to elect leaders who will work hard for you and who will secure your future. Vote DA on the 1st of November.
Performing his hit single, Lekker Day. Straight for the Dallas Macy, it's your boy, Early B!
Yeah, Chase. Yeah. Hey, my broer, man, is nou in 'n predicament. Kom ek sê jou van 'n ander kantjie kimmelen. Ek like toe binne noodles, maar ek eet dan en kimmel te winkel. Sien jy waar kom tikkenen? Sy roep my early boom baby, as okay maat. As van die Dallas man, sy sing dat hy leidraad. As ek kom koop, dikke van my vry kyk diep in my oë soos 'n change gesê vry want. Ja, ek voel snaaks so brother. En nou as ek op hom ras enigiets anders. Ja, die change van as brother brother dan. Buk sy so sy terug kyk brother ek. Kyk maar weg. Van man net die grille. Hartonge sal net buitelik sy het droë op my. Bra sy praat my bang met dat dinge van sy wys my lekker day. Away. Hey, yeah. It's my girl rooi. No ways. Ek het klaar om moesie van my. Ek gaan jou kry. Hey, as jy wil lekker maar by my. Yeah, jy nog gedai. Lekker day. Away. Wat praat die country met my? Ek smaak jou rooi. No ways. Ek het klaar om moesie van my. Ek gaan jou kry. Hey, as jy wil lekker maar by my. Yeah, jy nog gedai. Yo, check it. About rock serious. Hoe kom het man sit sound when you TTS? This is very unhygienic, no? Kimlen, why must you be like this? Ek sê, I just want my chow, let me go, you. I like a set of ness in a oh, yeah. Wat gaan aan met jou? I just wanna step, no? Now if you really wanted, why don't you come fetch it? Ek sê, Kim, hou op, ek wil eet. Kom eet van my, al die BX gereed. Gaan aan, ek het nie tyd vandag so goed in nie. Nou, okay, is it? Gee my eens die swinkie. Ek gryp die pak, maar sy gryp my arm. Aan die arm om die nek, sy wil my vastdruk, brother. Ek hou my hand op my lip om te kappen. Lekker lippe, so sy enkel vir hy swinkie, brother. En sy's blind steer, brother, jy moet check. Ek smaak haar die slaan nie, so wat maak ek? Ek krap apart toe en braas, net wat ek step. Toe hoor ek net, as lekker die. Away, wat praat die kunstje met my? Ek smaak jou rooi. Hey, ek gaan jou kry. Hey, as jy wil lekker maar by my. Yeah, one more time, as lekker. Away, wat praat die kunstje met my? Ek smaak jou rooi. No ways, ek het klaar om moesie van my. Ek gaan jou kry. Yeah, jy my goed belate man, glyk om maar by my. Yeah, jy nog yo, ek loop joint toe ek voel soos 'n spykou. Moet jy sê my nooit op 'n power soos hy nou. Kry my boetie langs die pad, hy lyk rook. Wys my kom gesame man vir gehoek, white koop. En wys hom jy, wow my bro, Moenie swak om ek sê kom my bro. Hy wys hom okay. Ons van die trot my bro. As ons aankom, gaan ek byt 'n blok vir jou. Cool, ons kom maar. Die man by die counter. Hy roep my in, ek sê nee, ek gooi 'n anker. Hy wil 'n spootsel, ek sê ek met 'n soutkap. Ek hardloop aan, ek sê ou krap my gou bra. Ek trek die sleeps en die lollies in my sak. 2 minute noodles in my broekie by my mag. Hy vat 'n bakkie eentjies toe wel is in my pak. En all of a sudden hoor ek net kak. Hou die ek toe en ek stoel. Wys hom wat maak jy my bro maak oop. Hy wys my boetie moenie blind check jy hoor. Toe hoor ek net as lekker zaai. Hey, yeah. Ek smaak jou rooi. No ways. Ek is klaar om ons te van my. Ek gaan jou kraai. Yeah. My goed te laat man gelyk kom maar by my. Yeah, jy nog gedai. Lekker zaai.
The city of Johannesburg is a city of gold that has lost its shine. Residents of Jersey deserve to experience a government that cares, a government that takes service delivery seriously, and a government that is committed to securing a growing economy. Introducing the DA's offer to get things done is our mayoral candidate for the city of Johannesburg, Dr. Mpho Phalatse. Hoi hoi! Mpho Phalatse, hoi hoi! Hoi hoi! Mpho Phalatse, hoi hoi!
Running to be the next mayor of a megacity like Johannesburg is a task that can never be taken lightly. It requires endurance, dedication, and passion. I spent 15 years of my life working in the public sector, including 5 years as a city councillor. Before entering politics, I worked as a medical doctor in hospitals and other medical facilities across the country, most notably the Alex Clinic that eventually drove me to enter politics and continue the good fight in improving the living conditions of communities who were subjected to unfair conditions. In me, Joburg residents will have an activist mayor, an advocate for their rights. Even after the DA-led coalition was removed in 2019, I stayed in the Johannesburg Council and continued to fight for residents to have the basic services that they rightfully deserve. Joburg residents will never have to worry about me ever abandoning them. I'm here to stay and help make the city of gold shine again. There's a growing anger and frustration among South Africans. They're so sick and tired of the abuse that corrupt local governments have inflicted upon them over so many years. Added to this, the COVID-19 pandemic and lockdown have added so much further pain and suffering, with many having lost their livelihoods. No caring government should ever be forcing their residents into unemployment with very little to no safety net to fall back on. It is cruel, unjust, and abhorrent. South Africa needs an urgent and drastic change of government. The crossroads we now find ourselves in cannot be more definitive and consequential. The ANC is not capable of governing anymore. They served their purpose of fighting to dismantle apartheid. It's time for them to step aside and allow new leadership in our country that serves the interests of residents and no one else. Johannesburg is broken, but it can be fixed again. At this moment, we cannot, with a straight face, pretend that Joburg is a world-class city when electrical substations with illegal connections in Soweto break down due to the unsustainable high demand. When illegal mining for gold in Linden is taking place right next to gas and fuel pipelines, setting up a possible fatal disaster when something goes wrong. When the residents of the Helen Joseph Hostel in Alex have to collect water from JoJo tanks because there has been no running water in their facility for over 2 years. There is so much more I can reflect on, especially what I've personally seen during my visits of regions and constituencies across the metro. These areas of suffering stand in such contrast to the successes of the DA-led government 2 years ago. Just in my portfolio alone, I oversaw the rollout of 10 mobile clinics, extended the working hours at 27 clinics, and opened 6 new clinics and 5 substance abuse treatment centers. Voters of Johannesburg have a clear choice. They have come to experience what a no-majority government in the Metro Council means for them. The DA has delivered good governance before and can certainly do it again, but this time with a majority that would result in uninterrupted service delivery for all. Joburgers deserve to live in a world-class city. They deserve basic service delivery to get back on track. I pledge myself to be Joburg Mayor for the next 5 years, to partner with residents, business, and every other stakeholder that's invested in seeing Johannesburg restored to the land of opportunity. It's time to rebuild Johannesburg, and together we will do it after these elections.
Wow, just wow. We've now heard from all our mayoral candidates. Great stuff. Siv, you announced them less than a month ago.
Yeah.
Now it's crunch time.
Absolutely. I'm so excited. I mean, you look at just the quality of our mayoral candidates. And Richard, and here's the thing, I think many people may perhaps at home don't quite know, is that we have such a rigorous process to get through to who becomes your mayoral candidate. It's not about who you know or what position you hold in the organization, but it's about the best person for the job. And we do that because we want to be able to say to South Africans, this is the person we're entrusting with being able to really implement the things that we put in our manifesto.
And so, Liz, you served as a MACO member in Tshwane. What do you think? Are we ready for this?
I'm so excited with this lineup of candidates. Jordan Hill-Lewis in Cape Town, who's the perfect combination of compassionate and smart. He will take the already high level of services in Cape Town to a higher level. Dr. Mpho, I think the best antidote to the big man politics that has ruined that city. And Rufulwe Ntseke in Ekkurleni, as in the other key cities, she knows that investment in infrastructure to keep the lights on and to secure that supply of water, that's going to be the key priorities. Let me just say something about Tshwane and Nelson Mandela Bay, because these are cities where the DA currently governs, but without that crucial 50+1% majority. So in both of these cities, we were able to achieve great things, roll back irregular contracts and cancel show projects and prioritize the basics that we spoke about of local government. In Tshwane, it was interrupted by an ANC provincial government, and in Nelson Mandela Bay, smaller parties actually sabotaged the project there, but we came back and we fought, and we are doing exactly what should be done before we were so rudely interrupted. So I am optimistic, and in those cities, in Tshwane, Nelson Mandela Bay, and the other metros, what we need is 50%+1 so that we can get things done.
And don't forget to keep the conversation going. #DA Manifesto. To all the people out there watching, you're welcome. Please stay with us all the way through. Watch parties out there. We're getting information from our watch.
Probably get some people at our watch parties, like taking selfies, sending to us so that we can engage with you.
And now it's time for the main event. I mean, you guys have been around the country with John, and now it's time for him to address us at this National Manifesto launch. The moment you've been waiting for, the man of the moment, the federal leader, John Steenhuisen. But first, let's span thy sailor.
Kaptein. A kaptein. A kaptein, span die seile. Kaptein, sy is myne. Laat maar die son opkom, nou moet die horizon was hy vir myne. A kaptein, span die seile. Kaptein, sy is myne. Daar waar die son aan het, het sy gesis hy wag. Oh, 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 sy wag vir my. Een dag, lang gelede, in my droom, was daar 'n girl soos jy, maar sy was vaar te mooi vir my. Daar was 'n eiland vol meisies en bikinis. soos jy, en dit was vaak veel vir my. Kom saam. 'n Kaptein span die seile, kaptein sy is myne, dan maar die son opkom, dan word die horizon vastsy vir my. 'n Kaptein span die seile, kaptein sy is myne, dan maar die son gaan lê, en sy gesê sy wag, oh, 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 sy wag vir my. Een dag, op een dag, ons sal die een dag. Dit was net ek en jy, ons het mekaar in 'n droom gekry. O ja, daar was 'n eiland vol kinders by die see. Almal lyk soos jy, en dit was mooi verby. 'n Kaptein span die seile, kaptein sy is myne, dan waar die son opkom, dan word die horizon vastsy vir my. 'n Kaptein span die seile, kaptein sy is myne, dan waar die son gaan lê, het sy gesê sy wag, oh, 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 sy wag vir my. Kaptein, ek wens jy wil my hoor. Oh, no, 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 no. Kaptein, ek wens jy wil, ek gaan my droom verloor. Yeah, yeah, kaptein, span die seile, kaptein, sy is myne, dan waar die son opkom, dan word die horizon vastsy vir my. 'n Kaptein, span die seile, kaptein, sy is myne, dan waar die son gaan lê, het sy gesê sy wag, oh, 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 sy wag vir my, sy wag vir my.
Viva, DA, viva! Pata, DA, pata! South Africa, are you ready for change? Are you ready for the DA difference? Are you ready to see things getting done? Fellow Democrats, to Saldanha. Richards Bay to Springbok. Welcome to our DA local election manifesto. South Africa. He leads in parliament. He leads us in the nation. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the federal leader of the Democratic Alliance, John Steenhuisen!
Viva! Away! Fellow Democrats, fellow South Africans, what a day this is for the Democratic Alliance and for our country. Just 5 weeks out from a historic local government election, today marks the official launch of our election manifesto, and with it, our vision for every town and city in this country under a local government that works. We've been on the road for months, already speaking to people about the importance of these elections. But today, we're able to hold up a document that sets out exactly what we think matters in local government, and then explains how the DA will make this a reality. This here is our blueprint for a local government that works. I want to urge every voter who's concerned about the precarious state of their town, who might be scared for the future of their family, or who doesn't know whether their business can survive another 5 years of the status quo, to read this document. Find in it the parts that speak to your specific concerns, and then see what we propose to fix this. We've tried to keep it as straightforward as possible and avoid all those dry technical language that so often accompanies these documents. We want it to be easily understood and applied to whatever the situation in your town or your city may be. We want you to visualize the potential of your town once we've evicted the ANC government and replaced it with a DA government, and then applied this blueprint for the next 5 years. Now, I know just how bad things are going in so many municipalities today. In recent months, I've visited many towns across the country, and I've spoken to hundreds of people, and the stories they've shared with me paint a very bleak picture indeed. Ours is a country where the collapse of local government is so widespread that it can no longer be feasible to place these non-functioning municipalities under administration, as there's simply just too many of them. Ours is a country where, bit by bit, ordinary citizens, businesses and civic organizations have had to start taking over the responsibilities of their failed local governments, where grass verges are mowed and potholes filled by ordinary residents, people whose sense of pride and ownership of their neighborhood won't allow them to simply stand back and watch as it all crumbles, where water infrastructure is repaired and maintained by members of the community because the alternative is too catastrophic to contemplate, where NGOs and churches have had to step more and more into the role meant to be fulfilled by government's social services, where neighborhood watchers and rural safety patrols have taken on the duties of protecting communities because the police and local law enforcement simply cannot. And as more and more of these functions are taken off their hands, these local governments are only too happy to just step back and do nothing. Ours is a country where hundreds of municipalities can no longer collect payment from residents for services like electricity and water, and end up owing these utilities billions of rands, and they're constantly on the verge of disconnection. Ours is a country where the biggest employers in town have to beg their local government for years to improve the provision of clean water or to maintain the road and infrastructure so that the business can remain viable. And when this doesn't happen, and when these businesses and factories eventually have to close down or relocate elsewhere, these very same local governments turn around and beg them to stay. We all know the story of the clover factory in Lichtenberg that made the news headlines. But that same scenario is playing out in dozens of other towns, in most provinces, where the failure of local government to do the very basics of their job has hounded businesses out of the town and left thousands of our people jobless. One by one, our small towns are becoming economic ghost towns. And the people who remain there after all the businesses have left are faced with an impossible decision. Stay there, unemployed, desperately poor, and with almost no prospect of finding a job, or to leave the place you call home and your family in search of an equally uncertain future in a strange city. Those cannot be the only two options. We cannot accept the demise of all these local economies as some inevitable fate. These are things that can be changed, things that are worth the fighting for. We dare not write off any town. But fellow South Africans, ours is also a country where small islands of excellence still exist in the sea of local government failure and neglect. And here I'm talking about municipalities run by the DA. Whether it's a town like Stellenbosch, Swellendam or Mossel Bay in the Western Cape, whether it's Koko in the Eastern Cape or Midvaal in Gauteng, the contrast between these municipalities and those run by the ANC is staggering. The contrast is so unmistakable that in some places you can literally see the DA difference in the road under your feet as you cross the boundary. And it doesn't matter which independent criteria you use, whether we're talking clean audits in the Auditor General's report, whether we're talking municipal rankings by Ratings Africa, whether we're talking the results of the Citizen Satisfaction Index, or whether we're talking the unemployment numbers put out by Stats SA. DA governments consistently come out on top. Now, the DA governs less than 10% of South Africa's municipalities, but the top 5 performing municipalities are all run by the DA. And you may ask yourself why. What is it about these towns and cities that makes them work when neighboring municipalities are imploding? Why should a DA-controlled municipality offer such a vastly different outcome? And there are a number of reasons for this. For starters, our party is obsessed with doing the basics well, streamlining and correcting our systems until they're efficient and entirely focused on solving the problem. Whether this problem is collecting refuse, filling potholes, managing housing lists, or keeping people safe. We also believe in employing only fit-for-purpose individuals to government and then demanding accountability from them, because this is the only way to build a capable state. We have zero tolerance for corruption, and we have an obsession to reduce any unauthorized or irregular expenditure as low as we possibly can. In other words, to spend every single cent of public money in the most efficient manner and where it makes the most impact. We believe in harnessing the power of the whole of society to tackle our challenges. We don't see government as some all-powerful entity dispensing its mercy, its gifts and its jobs to the people. Government cannot create jobs, not on the scale we need. But if approached right, government can be an enabler of potential. It can put in place the systems, the support, and the legislation that make it possible for businesses to flourish and to create jobs. And it can offer individuals opportunities, which they must then grasp in order to live a life of value. But most importantly, in the DA, we never forget why we do what we do. We don't forget our oath of office. We never lose sight of the fact that the DA serves the people, not the other way around. Now, none of these things is rocket science. They're just the basic principles of good governance. But they're also the very things that set DA governments apart. When you apply these principles to local government, along with a clear long-term vision for a town or city, you'll get what we call the DA difference. And on the pages of this manifesto, you will find this applied to every aspect of local government. You'll see that we've divided this document up into a number of sections which deal with the main functions of a local government. Each of these functions is critical if you want a municipality to work. And it starts with arguably the most important function of a local government, the provision of dependable basic services to all. And this is where the DA has put miles of clear blue water between us and ANC local governments. Nothing has a more direct impact on people's quality of life and their ability to live a life of dignity than good, reliable basic services, and particularly access to clean drinking and cooking water. In this manifesto, you will see how DA governments work hard to make communities water secure, and particularly in the drought-stricken parts of the country like the Eastern Cape. Having successfully fought off Day Zero in Cape Town, DA governments are using learnings from that episode to mitigate the drought in Nelson Mandela Bay through measures such as foster leak repairs, flow restrictions, sinking boreholes, and running public awareness campaigns. You'll also read here of the DA's efforts to provide residents with clean and hygienic environments to live in through regular waste collection, managing landfills, controlling polluting emissions, and supporting waste pickers in their recycling efforts. In the section on electricity provision, you will learn of the DA's mission to make 6 pilot municipalities in the Western Cape load-shedding proof in what they call the Energy Resilience Project. These municipalities are putting in place measures that will enable them to procure electricity directly from suppliers and ultimately end their reliance on Eskom altogether. You will also learn that Cape Town already manages to avoid at least one stage of load shedding compared to the rest of the country through its pumped hydropower station at the Steenhuisen Dam. You will learn of our plans to improve public transport and road quality, as well as to our plans to integrate public transport in metros into a one-ticket system. You can also read about our award-winning recycled plastic road in Koko, the thousands of potholes we've already filled in Tshwane, and our world-class bus rapid transport systems in both Cape Town and George. The next section in the manifesto deals with crime and safety. And although policing is a function of national government, DA governments have been working extremely hard to protect residents from the scourge of crime and particularly gangs and drugs. We want all South Africans to feel safe and free in their own neighborhoods or out on their farms, and we'll help to protect them and take back the streets from the criminals in this country. Ultimately, our goal is to devolve much of the policing functions from national government to competent metros and municipalities, and we will fight national government's attempts to bring all metro police departments and municipal law enforcement into one centralized police service. And we will take this fight all the way to the Constitutional Court if that is what we must do. When it comes to the local economy and jobs, DA governments have one mission, and that is to open the doors of our towns and cities to investors and let them know that we are open for business. We will do everything in our power to make it easier to do businesses in a DA-run town or city, whether this is quicker construction permits, quicker property registration, or quicker electricity connections. We also recognize the enormous contribution of informal traders to local economies, and we will support this crucial sector through convenient trading sites, affordable permits, and applying the infrastructure that they need to trade. The DA-run city of Cape Town is already ranked the top SA city in the World Bank's Doing Business survey. But for us, this is just the start. Our cities and towns have the potential to do so much more. As our Cape Town mayoral candidate Jordan Hill-Lewis's campaign slogan says, Cape Town works, let's do more. The next big mandate of local governments is the delivery of a range of housing options, and particularly low-income housing options for a rapidly urbanizing population. And while the national housing budgets are being slashed, DA governments will increase housing delivery through smart collaborations with the private sector. We will also continue to push national government to release suitable tracts of state-owned land in cities to help us deliver quality housing options close to work opportunities and major transport routes. In the city of Cape Town, there are several such projects underway that will deliver thousands of housing opportunities in central locations. Elsewhere, the DA government in Stellenbosch has launched an innovative housing app which applicants can use to access a database, apply for opportunities, and update their info. And across all DA governments, we continue to make thousands of South Africans property owners with a full title deed. This is one of the most financially empowering steps any government can take, and the DA will continue to fight for the right of all South Africans to own property. Our manifesto ends with a section on good, clean, transparent governance. And here we reaffirm our commitment to stamp out corruption, eliminate wasteful expenditure, pay all of our suppliers within 30 days, and bill all residents correctly, to conduct transparent tender processes, and appoint all officials fairly and on merit. Fellow South Africans, these are all the things that already set DA governments apart. These aren't the pie-in-the-sky promises of other parties' manifestos. We already implement these steps, and we already live these values where we govern. That's why our posters say, the DA gets things done, and we are the only party that can make this claim. If you're choosing a government to run your town or city, that is the only criteria that matters. Will they deliver? Now, as a country, we have some big decisions to make, and we're going to have to make them soon. All around us, the ability of the state to deliver is being steadily eroded, and this is creating a powder keg of frustration and resentment. Over 44% of adult South Africans cannot find work. Dozens of municipalities are already entirely dysfunctional, and many, many more are heading in that same direction. And while all our global peers have started their post-COVID recovery, our economy is stuck in first gear, and our own recovery looks a very long way off. Never before has the need for change been more urgent. But the good news is that the stars are aligned for us to make history as a country. All of the elements have come together to make it possible for these elections on the 1st of November to become our South African spring, where we finally step out of the shadow of a failed post-liberation government and into a new era of delivery, accountability, honesty, and professionalism. The ANC's implosion and the dawning realization among South Africans that they are beyond salvaging has thrown this election wide open. Our country now stands before a historic crossroads. We need to make smart choices now, informed choices that will protect and preserve this country for our children and their children. This means knowing what the main contenders on the ballot paper offer. Take their manifestos and read them critically. Ask yourself, are these just words, or can this party back it up with actions? One thing I can tell you is that the DA is not a party of wild, unattainable promises. We don't fill our manifesto with every fantasy we can think of. We don't ignore the real-world constraints of resources, budgets, personnel, historical backlogs, and maintenance neglect. Ours is a manifesto anchored in reality. A manifesto that speaks not only of what a DA government will do for you, but also what dozens of DA governments are already doing for millions of people. A record of action and a promise of more. The DA also isn't a party of bygone glories. We don't ask voters to remember what we once were half a century ago. We don't cherry-pick our good story from decades back. The DA wants voters to judge it by what it does today. We're a party that delivers in the present and looks to the future. Our good story is happening right now. It's happening in the metros and municipalities where voters have already made that smart choice. And it could happen in so many more. The DA is not a party of insiders and outsiders. It doesn't reward its inner circle and their families with the powerful positions and comfortable jobs at the expense of service delivery and the rule of law. We don't believe in jobs for pells. We don't believe in making government bigger and bigger until every single crony has a job, but nothing ever gets done. We don't deploy cadres who know nothing about running a government and only know how to extract every last cent for themselves. We don't paralyze the state. We constantly build the state to be more efficient, more responsive, and more capable. The DA is not a party that believes in a powerful government that controls every aspect of society. That idea died long ago. We believe that the best results are always achieved through collaboration and by decentralizing power and control so that those who know the most about a problem are tasked with solving it. Sometimes this will require of local or provincial governments to take on some of the responsibilities where national government is simply not up to the task. We can no longer accept that functions such as policing, commuter rail and electricity provision should remain the sole function of an incompetent national government that clearly cannot do the job. We cannot stand by while people suffer the effects of these failures. Our job is to serve the people who elected us. And going forward, that will mean testing the reach of local and provincial government powers in order to look after the interests of the people. The DA also believes in a society where government is a partner and an ally to the citizens, and to families, and to businesses, not the sole provider of all things to everybody. That is why you will also read in each section of this manifesto that our office speaks not only about the rights of citizens, but also of their responsibilities. Because successful societies are those where people take responsibility for their choices and their actions. The DA is not a party that counts on racial solidarity to secure votes. We don't come and say to people, you should only vote for someone that looks like you, or someone that speaks your language, or someone who shares your culture or religion. None of those things matter when it comes to delivering the kind of government that can revive our towns and cities and breathe life into their dying economies. None of those things are the qualities that make for efficient, accountable government. But when a party has nothing else to offer, it's not hard then to understand why they would appeal to emotional issues like race or identity. Our project in the DA is much bigger than that. We're not here to divide people up into tiny boxes of sameness. We'll never be part of this dangerous game of turning South Africans against each other, or of creating suspicion and resentment and telling people that someone has to lose in order for them to win. If our country is to recover and prosper, it can only be as a single nation focused on a common goal. And that must be our country's mission. But above all, the DA is a party that gets things done. We're a party that not only has a vision and a plan, we're also a party that does what it says it will do. And in local government, where the impact of service delivery makes such an instant difference to people's lives, that is all that matters. And that is why I'm so proud to lead the DA in these elections, and so confident to offer up this manifesto as proof of what our party can bring to even more towns and cities after the 1st of November. And that is why I'm so proud to lead the DA in these elections, and so confident to offer up this manifesto as proof of what our party can bring to even more towns and cities after the 1st of November. For the first time ever, the DA has a candidate in every single ward in the country. We've made it possible for every eligible voter to make the right decision in 5 weeks' time. Let us now go out there and take back our towns and our cities. Let's replace the corrupt with the capable, and desperation with hope. Let us vote for the only party big enough to bring change, and the only party big enough to keep the ANC and EFF out of your town. Let us vote for 5 uninterrupted years of service delivery, and only if you're satisfied with those 5 years, another 5 after that. Let us breathe some life back into these wonderful towns across the length and breadth of South Africa that so many of us call home. And let us choose as our local government the only party that can honestly say, we get things done. And so, South Africa, let us go out on the 1st of November and vote for a DA government. Viva DA! Viva!
Thank you very much, Federal Leader John Steenhuisen. We have it now, our commitment, and now it's crunch time.
Absolutely. And Richard, once you've launched your manifesto, it is now a sprint all the way to election day. It's going to go by so quickly. But I think what's important here with this event today is that we've been able to say to South Africans, here are our commitments. We want to provide service delivery in your local towns and municipalities. We want to keep corruption out. We want to make sure that we create employment so that people can have the dignity of having a job. We want to make sure that communities are safe and building a non-racial South Africa. And I think what we've committed ourselves to doing now, we've got it to take to all corners of the country.
And now it's the voter's choice in that box there.
Indeed, Richard. We've spoken a lot about fixing potholes and getting electricity and water and the basics of local government right, making sure that these councils aren't corrupt. But it's about more than that. It is about securing a habitable future for our children in this country. It is about making sure that our towns and cities work for people and that there are jobs and opportunities here in South Africa. We love this country, we will fight for this country, and we have to make sure that we elect mayors and councillors who can get things done.
Exactly. It's time for change. Be the change. The DA gets things done. Be safe. Take care.